Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. This is my GM Mode 2K25 wish list. Look, I produced the 2K24 GM Mode wish list. You guys really liked it. You asked for another one. It's a little bit early, but I'm going to do it. Which means your favorite thing, the thing that your boy does the best, disclaimers. Number one. I have over 170 hours into WWE 2K24. Between 2K24, 2K23, and 2K22, I probably got something like 400 hours into it. All of it is spent on GM Mode. I love GM Mode. It is the only way I play. Personally, I love the booking. I love watching the matches. I don't even know how to play a wrestler in a match. That's how much I just play GM Mode. So, with that in mind, what I'm going to be talking about here is exactly the GM Mode. Now, another quick disclaimer. I don't want to buy WWE 2K25. I don't like annualized franchises. I hate them. I hate the fact that just when I feel like I'm getting going with the one that we have to go out and spend $70 to $100 on a new one. Just bothers me so much, especially when the new one is going to be kind of broken for like 3 to 4 months because it's an annualized franchise, so they had to rush everything. I hate it. I would much rather WWE 2K just be this like subscription thing where every so often you either had to pay for a DLC or whatever, or an update, and they just updated the stats and put some new wrestlers in there. So with that on the table, I don't want to spend any money on 2K25. I am hoping that they don't put as much love, effort, and work into 2K25 as they did in 2K24. And honestly, the original video of this for 2K24, I said the same thing. I said there's only a couple of things that would make me turn my head, that would make me think I have to pick this up, and I have to upgrade. Unfortunately, GM Mode seems to be getting the most love out of any of the modes on WWE 2K right now. So I think my hopes will be dashed because some of the ones on my list today I think we're going to get in 2K25. But nonetheless, this list, this 5-tier list, is going to be things that if they put it in the game, I would have to buy it. Now, one thing that was confusing about the last time I did one of these videos, got a lot of comments from you guys. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing in the comments what you guys want to see in 2K25. I think that's so cool. But I want more than this in 2K25. What I'm saying is these are the 5 things that, like, if they put these in, I will have to purchase it. I will be forced to spend the $70 to yet again purchase another WWE 2K instead of just sticking out with 2K24 until 2K26, which is what I'd much rather do. So here we go. Let's get into them. Number one with a bullet. I'm gonna go with one that I did last year that did not come to fruition because it's still on my list. It's still something I want to see, and it might be a pipe dream, but it is what it is. I like the brand separation, right? Especially for a mode like this. Somebody playing SmackDown, somebody playing Raw, and the wrestlers don't ever cross over. That being said, there are a bunch of events that aren't represented in your standard GM Mode playthrough. I don't mind the 25 weeks either. I think that makes sense. It's not too long. It's not too short. I get it. What bothers me is they don't have the Royal Rumble. They don't have Survivor Series. They don't have Money in the Bank. Anything where the events cross over, where they have people from either side crossing over, just are non-existent. So, what I want is you still have your 25-week thing. 5 pay-per-views, 4 shows per month leading up to the pay-per-view, all of that stuff. Last one's WrestleMania, then it goes into the whatever. What I want to see is the mid one, number 3. I want it to be a crossover event like the Royal Rumble or whatever. You can watch it whatever it is, whether it's Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and whatever it is, it's a random choice. So you never know which one it is. It's one of the like 3 or 4 of them. And then each team, each person gets to put 2 wrestlers, some amount of wrestlers into that event. And then they can actually, for just that month, build the storyline based on that. Want that so bad. I think that would be so cool if, like, after month 2, we've got to start looking towards, whatever the big event is, and you've got to decide who's going into the Rumble, who's going into the Money in the Bank, how are you coming about that. I think that would be such a cool way of doing things, to have this kind of, like, one crossover event. I know this is kind of a pipe dream. It's why I'm kind of opening up with it, but I think it would be so cool, and I think it's something that GM Mode really needs, is that, like actual competition between my wrestlers versus your wrestlers. It shouldn't be all the time. You shouldn't be able to just like run in on your opponents or whatever, but it would be really cool to have at least 1 or 2 moments like that throughout a season, especially if you're playing with a friend. All right, next up, the rest of these, I think we're probably going to get some of them, which is, like I said, going to bum me out because I'll have to buy it. But the big one is more brands, but not just more brands. Look, guys and gals out there, a little bit of inside baseball on wrestling as a whole. NXT has been doing a lot of crossover stuff with TNA Wrestling, which is technically a different company. I've got news for everybody out there. It's not a different company. They are all under the same umbrella, shell company, whatever. I can't remember what it was. It's not TKO, but TKO is under that. Like Anthem Sports owns all of it. So it's very easy for those 2 companies to cross over. Plus, we've already found out that Jordynne Grace is doing some motion capture work for WWE 2K25. That doesn't mean she's going to be in the game. I know that. There are wrestlers who have never worked for WWE who have done motion capture work for 2K. I know that. But you just see all this crossover on actual TV. Then you see that TNA has no actual video game to speak of. And what would be a huge step up for the 2K brand, and that is TNA. I think TNA is going to be added to 2K25 as a playable brand for GM Mode. I think it's also going to be added to 2K25 just in general. We're going to see TNA wrestlers on the 2K25 roster. I think that's really cool. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I think that that's going to happen. They need more brands, and I think that is going to be a big brand addition to what we're seeing right now. We're going to have TNA slapped into that mess, especially since, like I said, they're all owned by the same company, and TNA doesn't have the economic foundation right now to go out and have their own game built and have it be any good, especially in a market that is absolutely and utterly dominated by WWE 2K. So, the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them, and I think TNA is going to join them. I think we're going to see that. This isn't a prediction, though. This is a wish list. If this happens, if they put TNA, my favorite brand of all time, I'm going to be on board. I'm going to have to get that game. There's just no way I'm going to be able to avoid that. So next, let's talk about number 3, and that is customizable brands. Give me customizable brands, all right? Like a customized, like a created show that I could put in there. They already do it with the wrestlers. I don't know why they don't just do it with the brands. It would be easy enough with both to even set that up for creation, like what kind of power it gives, and just have them have one of the powers from one of the other brands. I want to see customizable brands in this. I think that would be really cool. Or like custom show brands. I think that would be really cool. And in addition to that, this is kind of a little bit more of a pipe dream. I don't think we're going to see this, but this is something I want to see. I want to see a customizable belt structure. So, as it stands right now, we've seen that, like, with the customizable belt structure, the way it stands right now is everything other than ECW has a world championship for the men's. You have a workhorse championship for the men's, or what they call the men's singles title. You have a men's tag team title, a women's tag team championship, and then a women's world championship or women's single championship. In addition to that, with ECW, you don't have any women's belts, which is ridiculous. I've talked about that before on this channel. But you have the men's big time one, the whatever. And how they balance that is a change in popularity. Here's what I want. I want them to allow us to decide what belts are on the show, period. Right in the beginning, when you start a GM mode, I want them to be like, all right, and they can say you absolutely have to have a world championship, you absolutely have to have a tag team championship. Great. But give me like 5 more slots and let me decide what the belts are going to be in there. Because I might want to create an all-women's brand. There is no like infrastructure for that right now. With that, it kind of screws you over. Or I would like to create a women-heavy brand with the men kind of taking a little bit more of a backseat. I can't do that. Maybe I want to set up a much more hardcore league with much more hardcore belts, and maybe I don't even want a world title or something. Like, I would like a setup where it's like, hey, you got 5 slots for titles, okay? Here they are. What do you want them to be? And each belt has some sort of... all the belts are already attached to requirements anyway, whether they're women's belts, tag team belts, or singles belts. When you create them, so let us do the customized belts, but also all your belts already have that attached. Just let us attach it. I would love to create like a vintage WWE brand, or WWF brand if it's vintage, but have the old Wing Eagle belt as my world championship, the old Intercontinental as my Intercontinental. You guys see where I'm going with this? I want customizable belt structure. I don't think we're gonna get it, but I'd love to see it. And then finally, this is a big one, okay? Online play. We need to have some online play so that I can play with somebody online. And I want to say this right now. It needs to be more than just we play while we're online and then the game goes away. It needs to be savable, and I need to be able to bring them back into it. Kind of like Baldur's Gate 3 does multiplayer. I need to have a game where like I can take turns with Joe Schmo across the way and we can play a GM mode together asynchronously. Like I can come down, here's my shows, there you go, and then go over to him and here he goes. I want that so bad. This is a little bit of a big ask. I think they're working on getting us something like this, but this is a big ask, especially with like simulating matches and stuff, because like right now I can simulate any match, but if I simulate a match, I'm not simulating the same. If I simulate the same match he simulates over there, or like watches, it might end differently than how he had it end, and then you have all sorts of messed up stuff. So I think this is a big ask. I think they're working on it in the background, and it's just going to take time. But it's still something I want to see. I think we've needed it for a few years now. I think we're at the point where everybody's kind of salivating at the mouth for that. You can play kind of online with the Steam link if you're both on PC, but other than that, especially on console, there's no actual way to play this online. You got to be physically in the room with the other person, and that's not always doable. As a 42-year-old man with an 8-year-old, I just can't always sit in a room and play with you. So I want to see that. And I do want to really quickly, I know this video is a little bit faster, I think I composed my thoughts a little bit better. I do really quickly just want to shout out a kind of honorable mention. If this got changed, I would not rush out to buy the game. But I think it's something that really needs to get changed. It's a little nitpicky, but this is the best video to speak on it, so I'm going to speak on it. And that is the trophies system for ranking. Look, I like the trophy system, the Hall of Fame trophies, where like you earn 10 to go in the Hall of Fame. That's how you know you won the GM mode overall. I like that there's a definitive end to the GM mode if I want it to be. I also like that when I get there, I can keep playing if I want and just go on. I like all those things. What I don't like is that it's the deciding factor for the ranking. The ranking should always be fans. So like if I'm earning, and here's why. If I'm earning more trophies, and this happens to me all the time, if I'm earning more trophies but my fans are way lower, I'm still getting my ass handed to me on the week-to-week GM mode stuff. But when it comes to the end of the year, I get the least amount of keepers. And it's not fair. I want more keepers if I'm in 4th place on the ratings. The ratings should always be the standings. I love the Hall of Fame trophies. I don't think they were a bad ad. I think they're great. I love the fact that there is a definitive time where, like, you can end this GM mode or you can continue it. Like, there is a finish point. And I like what they represent. I like that they give you cards. They give you that little dopamine shot that you're accomplishing something. They should not be the deciding factor on who is doing the best, okay? Like, this is the idea. The idea of this is that, like, ECW, when they were losing the ratings war, were number one because, they had the most different types of matches that week. That's insane. It should be fans. Fans should be the first. Then you could judge ties with the trophies. That's fine. But it should always be fans first. That wouldn't make me go out and spend the money if they rework that. But again, that's something I really would like to see changed in future GM modes. So hopefully you guys like this. I don't know what's going to actually be in there. I don't know what's going to come. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see a lot of TNA in 2K25. So I think that's going to come. That's the one that I'm pretty sure on, but we'll see. I don't have any line to anybody. This is just a wish list from me. It's not even a wish list. It's kind of a wish not, because if they add these, I'll have to buy the game, and I don't really want to buy the game. I kind of want to skip and stay with 2K24 for a while. But we shall see. All right, you guys can also reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. Influence this in all of our shows from there. We also have t-shirts now. They're at WizardsRespite.com. Please check them out. You can go to the shop section and hit the Old Man Gaming merchandise section, and you'll see our shirts there. We have 2 different shirts. And then finally, if you like this content, if you like GM mode content, every Thursday I play GM mode with a buddy of mine, Grandpa Gamer. We play against each other in person. It's a hell of a good time. We just got into 2K24, so I'm really excited about that, so please check that out. Other than that, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making it. We'll see you guys next time.